Hello, everyone. It is Friday, September 25th, 2020. It is almost 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. I am live from Athens, Ohio, as I said I would be. It is our Friday episode, uh, wrapping up the week for the weekend. And we have a special guest today. Um, After some technical difficulties, we figured out everything. And please welcome former co-host of the show, Justin Deweese. Yay! Welcome back, Justin.
Thank you.
No problem. So, how's everything going?
Taking classes keeps me busy. Being in the apartment can be boring, but just going out and taking some runs or going for walks gets me outside. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off with the NCAA topics. Figured this would be something good to talk about since I'm back at my college campus now, and we're both on campus, especially with all the stuff that's been going on here recently. First, ESPN is planning to move at least 8 men's college hoop events to the ESPN Worldwide of Sports property. Justin, what do you think about them doing that? There's also been Duke and some other schools thinking about having like their own like bubbles at their universities. I don't know if you had heard about that or anything.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea for those non-conference games. Before you get into the conference schedule, to sort of group them geographically and just sort of reduce as much exposure as you can. Basketball, obviously, you're playing more games than the football season. So whereas in college football, we're talking about non-conference, only a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
But for basketball, that can be a lot more. And, you have is it 300 some basketball teams?
Like 350 basically, I think, in D1.
Okay. So yeah, you could be playing a ton of different teams, whereas football, you got like 130. And you're only going to play a few for the non-conference schedule.
Right.
So
and I think this year they're only doing a total of like 27 total games this whole year.
Okay.
So I think that kind of narrows down your out of conference games once you get your conference schedule released.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how big your conference is and how many times you play a certain opponent.
Right. Depends if the conference schedule gets smaller or if it stays the same.
Right. If you have like a bigger conference like the Big 10 with 14 compared to like the Big 12 where you have 10, you could have 20 conference games in the Big 12, but you could have almost 28 if you played everyone twice.
Yeah.
You could just go total conference only in the Big 10 in some of those conferences.
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about the SEC now. So every football player, speaking of football for them, they are going to start play tomorrow. Are you excited to see them start play, by the way?
Yeah, I'm excited for any football, no matter who's playing at this point, but I've enjoyed watching a variety of different games these past couple of weeks.
Did you watch the Marshall game?
No, I couldn't get that one.
They beat Eastern Kentucky, I think.
Oh.
The first week, and they shut out Eastern Kentucky 59-0. But yeah, now they're number 25 in the nation.
Okay. They played App State last weekend?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. That one looked interesting, but I couldn't get it.
But every football player in the SEC will wear a device also used by the NFL to help with COVID-19 tracking or tracing and distancing. So how do you feel with a conference such as the SEC doing that?
I mean, I feel like not all conferences will have the finances to do that, but it sounds expensive.
Yeah,
The
I
NFL's
know.
doing it. But yeah, if you have
That
the money to do it, that would provide some good insights, I guess.
that was one of the first things that popped into my head. I'm like, how much is this costing the schools or the conference overall? So I know like the Big Ten and or the Pac-12 both have their own things too. So
Okay.
because I think the president was trying to give the Big Ten some stuff to help them get started back up. So but I don't remember exactly if they had something or if it was just because he was giving them stuff they were going to.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Notre Dame canceled their practice, and then it later came out that they were going to play Wake Forest this weekend due to 4 players testing positive for the virus in their latest round of um, testing. So that's it did get rescheduled to, I think it's December 12th, the week before a lot of teams are playing their conference championship game.
Okay.
So the ACC was originally going to be playing theirs that weekend, but they're guessing that they're going to push it back to that next weekend. Also, how do you think the Big Ten schedule is going to be with the 8-1? Do you like that, or
What do you mean 8-1?
so they play 8 regular season games straight, and then they play a ninth game the championship weekend. So like it gets seeded 1 through 14. So like 1, 2 in the championship game, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through 13 versus 14. So they get like 9 total games.
Oh, I never heard of that. Okay, that's interesting. So all the teams will be playing on the Big Ten championship weekend.
Yeah, all of them are going to play that weekend. Um, but they'll have seeded matchups where like every team will play a certain seed, like 3 versus 4,
Yeah.
and such like that.
Uh-huh. I don't know. That seems interesting. I
So
mean,
like I was just gonna say, like, so like if Ohio State misses the championship game and they're like the 3, they'll play the number 4 seed, and
right.
that could be Michigan again.
Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah, I feel like most of the attention will still be on the championship game, but if you have
right,
the championship game maybe at 8 o'clock at night, but you have the other games, maybe you have like the 14, 13, 12, 11 games at noon, and then
like
your
half of
middle.
them, like half at noon, half at 3:30, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, yeah, you could do maybe a couple of the lower games and a couple of the mid range games at noon.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Just
so
like
if you want
half
to
and
watch,
half.
yeah, so you'd want to watch the better teams if you wanted, you could do that. Or if you just wanted to watch your team, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean,
seems
it's
interesting.
also gonna be interesting if like the other championship games are going to be on at that time too, because it's like, well, is it going to take away from those other conferences? You know,
Yeah. I mean, if compared to last year's, I mean, sometimes the Pac-12 is like the Friday night, and like maybe Big 12 is Saturday, but a noon game in AT&T Stadium, or
and like the MAC is a Friday night game, I think too.
yeah. Okay.
So, like that's what they normally are for. I think the conference game. I think it's a Friday night in Ford Field in Detroit. So,
Yeah. So they could still do that.
mm-hmm. Let's see. The FCS is going to have a 16-team spring playoff. Um, there will be 11 automatic qualifiers and 5 at-large teams. This shrinks the bracket from 24 teams. Um, what's your opinion about that, Justin? Especially with some of the FCS schools have playing some games this fall, do you think they should get to play the rest of their games in the spring and try to be eligible for the playoff? Or do you think those schools should just not even be able to play in the spring at all?
The ones in the fall, is that like just the games against FBS opponents?
Yeah, that the FCS schools that played FBS teams.
I think they should still be eligible then for the spring season. I mean, even if you've only played like one FBS team and probably lost by a lot, but I'm not very informed on how the FCS playoffs like usually work, considering like the automatics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
mean,
think they might have a like ranking or something like that.
okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, 16 seems like a pretty easy, simple playoff format.
Well, they had 24 before this, so
yeah,
and they're shrinking it down this year for the spring, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think their games are played at their home stadiums. They don't play them at like bigger stadiums until the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I think it was the championship game, I think used to be at Frisco, at the Frisco bowl game stadium where we would play our bowl game, where we beat San Diego State in a blowout, like 35-0, I think it was. And then they picked us to go undefeated the next year along with them, and we didn't. We barely made a bowl game. But that's besides the point. Okay, this is why I put this into college. Georgia disputes ex-safety Otis Reese's claims of racial insensitivity. The ex-safety transferred to Ole Miss in January of this year. So obviously Georgia is in a little bit of trouble with that. So, but he went from one SEC school to another SEC school. I don't know if he'll have to sit out or not, but we're going to go to the Pac-12 news real quick. That they announced yesterday evening that they're going to play a 7-game slate starting in November. Why do you think they decided 7 games? Because that's a weird number, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Big Ten is 8
and 1.
Oh, that's right. They have 12 teams in their conference.
Yeah, they're the only team that they're like that has a number in it. Actually, is their conference.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a weird number.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, if you play everyone in your division in a crossover, I guess that's what they're thinking, maybe. But
or you'd have 2 crossovers.
No, 6, and then 1 crossover. Because 6 in each division.
Yeah, but you can't play yourself.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's been a long day, Justin. But yeah, so I guess 2 crossovers and then your whole division. So, and then also more college conferences news. The league presidents of the MAC announced that they were going to vote on the season today. They did, and we are happy to announce that they will be playing a 6-game season that will be starting on November 4th with a championship game the weekend of December 18th. And we are hoping that they allow fans in the stands here in Athens, or at least students.
I looked at the official statement that the MAC gave on their website.
Okay.
Right before we got here.
I hope someone did between us. I'm thinking it was going to be you, because I'm still unpacking.
public attendance is not allowed,
Oh,
unfortunately. It says no general public attendance or tailgating will be allowed at games. The participation of marching band, dance, cheer, and spirit squads at football games will be guided by conference protocols at institutional discretion, consistent with public health guidance.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So they approve the play, but they don't let fans in the stands. Or I wonder if they'll do what the NFL is doing with like crowd noise.
Maybe.
That'd be interesting. Because to me, then it's just like a scrimmage if there's no fans in the stands, or it's like practice with like the cheerleaders and all that.
Yeah.
That's
It'll be odd, but at least it's football.
Yeah, I hope I'll be able to watch all of them on ESPN Plus then. Because I'm sure they'll all be on ESPN Plus. I'm sure none of them will make it to ESPN or ESPN2 unless they're midweek games.
I looked at November 4th, which was the date that they said, and
I think that's a midweek game because I think we were.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Because I think we were originally skipping a Halloween game and playing that day. Because Halloween's a Saturday.
Okay. So, they may still have some ESPN time if they're playing these midweek games.
Right. But it would have been nice to have gone in and watched. At least we have basketball to look forward to, which we have some basketball news to actually talk about before we do one more football thing. So the NCAA has released COVID-19 guidelines for basketball season, and it includes suggesting to test players, coaches, and officials 3 times per week during the season. Justin, how do you feel about them testing players and coaches and even the refs 3 times a week at least?
I don't know. I feel you gotta do it in order to have a season. So
yeah,
whatever the doctors are saying, I guess.
If you're going to test the coaches and players, should you test the people that work around them though? Like, the supporting people, like the managers, the equipment people, stuff like that.
Yeah, I would be interested to see, like, maybe they still are testing them, but not like 3 times.
Yeah, like maybe once a week or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out here in like a week or so when I'm at work. Hint, hint, I'm working in the athletic department. So NCAA may change their bowl win-loss record requirements. The D1 Football Oversight Committee recommended that any team that meets the APR requirement should be eligible to play in a bowl game. So that's something we had talked about earlier this was actually something we had talked about like off screen, just you and me. We were like, wow, it would be interesting to see like a 3-win team or something like that in a bowl game. Well, now we might actually see it because, what if a MAC team goes 3-3 but meets the APR requirements to make it into a bowl? What if Ohio goes 3-3 and makes a bowl game?
So you still have to be 500?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're saying to drop the win-loss requirements, but if they meet the APR requirements, put them in.
Okay.
So you could see like maybe a 500 team in.
Yeah.
If there's enough spots available. You never know. Because I'm sure there will possibly be a 6-0 team going to the MAC championship this year. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if someone gets a good schedule like that. Like, say we don't get Miami, which I don't see that happening. But say we get like Kent State, Akron, Bowling Green, NIU, and Buffalo at home, and we win all 6 of those games. I mean, 6-0, go to the MAC championship game. I mean, who's to say we don't go 7-0 if you don't have a, good record?
I mean, we were going to go 12-0, so 6-0 should be easy.
7-0 should be even easier if we get the right team in the championship game. That's another thing. Did you see anything if like for the conference championship game, if it's going to be an East and West champion still, or if it's going to be the 1 and 2 out of the MAC?
I didn't see anything on that.
Okay. I'm guessing it's still going to just be the East and West divisions champion.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the schedule could just be one crossover in all your division opponents, though, too.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to move on from football to an overall NCAA thing, and that is there was a federal NIL bill introduced into Congress this week. A bipartisan legislation would open the door for college athletes to make money from a wide variety of endorsement deals. How do you feel about that, Justin?
I know we've been talking about this for a while, and it seems like it's more of a matter of when than if. So it seems like they're taking steps now to do that and maybe have college football video games again.
Yeah. I definitely would see a basketball and football one return. So,
Yep.
I don't see any other ones. Unless somehow you get a deal where the baseball one would be directly connected to the professional baseball one, where you could go from like how they used to with the college basketball game or college football game. You used to be able to go from high school to college, and then your player could get drafted.
Uh-huh.
You used to be able to bring your character from the game to import it into the professional game and see where they get drafted and stuff. So, but we're going to move on to some MLB baseball unless you have any college stuff you want to talk about.
There was one. I saw this week that University of Houston, they have not played a game yet. Their season opener was postponed for the 4th time, I think. It's all because the other teams that they were set to play had COVID cases. So I think it was like Baylor and Rice and maybe Iowa State or something. I don't know, but it was very unfortunate for Houston.
I don't know if you've watched Monday's video or anything, but I had a rant in that towards the end about the top 25, how all these SEC teams are still in there and they haven't played yet. I'm like, after the preseason one came out, and then week 1 or the first one that was updated came out, all of the SEC teams should have went out too, because they hadn't played yet. I'm like,
okay.
I feel like if you haven't played yet and you're ranked, you shouldn't be ranked because it's a waste of time and space. There could be other teams that have played that are, that should be filling the spots. And like in the coaches poll, I know it's all the coaches that vote, but they've already put Big Ten schools back in now that the Big Ten's going to play in the coaches poll.
Okay.
Like, it's ridiculous.
And you think they should wait until the Big Ten begins playing?
Yeah, like I think they should wait until these schools are playing again until they start ranking them. Like, I don't think any of the SEC schools should have been ranked still until after they play this weekend.
Okay.
Because what if Alabama and Georgia and LSU, what if they all lose this weekend? Well, they're going to fall down the top 25 rankings probably. I don't see them falling out, but they're going to fall down them. So,
On the other side, I could also see how you've got a team that, say, someone like Alabama, who has this giant streak of how many consecutive polls they've been in. And if you tell them that they're not going to be in a poll, even though they didn't lose a game, you know.
yeah, but they did that to all the Big Ten and Pac-12 teams,
Right.
and now they're going to play though.
Yeah, I'm not saying that taking the Big Ten and Big 12 teams out was the right idea, but because Big Ten teams that have been in the polls for so long are now out of the polls without losing a game since their last poll.
Year.
Ohio State could go from number 2 to unranked to number 2.
Right, by just winning their first game of the season, which would be
not having any losses.
Which would be ridiculous. That's why these AP polls and all this stuff is so stupid. I think you should have like the actual commissioners and stuff like that vote. I don't know. Like you need something. I think we should get rid of the AP and the coaches and do like the BCS and have that.
Okay.
I think that was actually good because the BCS would have took out all those schools that hadn't played yet. I think when calculating all that stuff up.
Yeah. I'm saying how, like taking Ohio State again, for instance, how them not playing a game shouldn't harm them. If they should stay at number 2, even matter if the season was already starting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, going from the preseason to the first poll coming out after that, I mean, there could have been a new number 2 that has won games like UCF or something like that. That's what I'm just trying to say. Like, there's more deserving teams that have actually played that should be ranked, and these teams that haven't played at all yet shouldn't be ranked. They're just taking spots away from teams that have been playing and have proved themselves. That's what I'm trying to do that.
Yeah. I understand. I think we just respectfully disagree.
Okay, moving on to baseball. It will be seeding, not record, will determine who bats last in this year's Neutral Site World Series. So, determining on what seed you are when it comes to the World Series. Say you have you have a 1 versus the 2 seed. The 1 seed will bat as the home team, and the 2 seed will bat as the away seed or team during those games.
For all the games, or like?
It didn't say.
That'd be a big advantage.
Yeah, but it's at Texas' new stadium.
Yeah, I could see how. If you have 1 seed that's higher, they get like the 7th game if it goes to it at home, or
Right.
like batting in on the 9th.
I think it's like the first 2 games goes to the higher seed is the home team, and then it alternates like it would normally.
Yeah,
but
that's probably how it is.
So, but the neutral sites though are the 2 places in LA, and then I think it's Houston and then the Rangers.
Okay.
I know there's 2 Texas stadiums. I think, at least, I know the Rangers are supposed to host the World Series, and then the LA stadiums are supposed to host like everything before that. So,
okay.
I think I thought Houston was supposed to host something. I could be wrong. I forget. But yeah, But the NL's not even going to play in Dodger Stadium. They're going to play in Angels, and the AL is going to play in Dodgers.
Yeah, which makes sense though, right? I mean, not letting Dodgers are definitely going to be in,
Yeah, because they clinched the NL West
Yeah.
for 8 straight years on Tuesday night. So, but yeah, you don't want, like, if the Angels make it, you don't want them having home field advantage either.
Mm. There's not much since there's not fans, but still something. Knowing the dimensions and all, and how to play in the outfield.
Yeah, they're used to everything. So, let's see. We're gonna move to UFC/wrestling news real quick. It was announced Wednesday morning that Road Warrior Animal passed away. His real name, Joe Laurinaitis, was a part of one of the most successful tag teams in pro wrestling history. In the Road Warriors, he was 60. His brother was a pro wrestler also, named John Laurinaitis. So, and then this was announced last night. Light heavyweight. They're both foreign and they're hard to say, but there's going to be a light heavyweight match on October 17th that will co-mate UFC Fight Night on that night. So I didn't realize that they were both basically Russian names. So when I screenshotted it, but yeah, that was real quick UFC and wrestling. We're going to go through some hockey stuff real quick. Rookie of the year was Avalanche rookie Cale Marker. I don't know. Do you know any of these people? Do you watch hockey besides the Blue Jackets?
Not really.
Have you been watching the Stanley Cup?
Much of the Blue Jackets.
Did you?
I haven't been watching the Stanley Cup. No.
I think there's a game tonight. I think it might be game 4 or 4. So
Okay.
they're gonna play at least 5 because Dallas has 1-1 and I think Tampa's 1-2.
Okay.
So
all my attention has been on the Reds. This is an exciting time to be a Reds fan in a long while. So
yeah, it's because they might get the second place spot too, because them and St. Louis were tied when I sent you that.
They could clinch tonight if a few things happen.
So we'll go over that real quick. We didn't really go over much of baseball stuff, so go over what could happen for the Reds real quick.
Okay. Let me pull it up real quick. But the first one being the Reds could clinch tonight if they win tonight.
They could clinch
the
what?
Playoff spot.
Okay. So they won't clinch like the wild card or the division or second place. They'll just clinch a playoff spot.
The Reds can clinch a postseason spot with a win over the Twins and a Phillies loss to the Rays and one Brewers loss to the Cardinals in their doubleheader.
The Phillies will probably lose to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's clinched the East, I believe, in the AL. Or at least they are close to. Because they could have clinched, I think, last night with a win or someone losing.
Well, we'll see.
And then that Cardinals, they just had to lose one of their games in the doubleheader. That could probably happen. So basically, all it has to do is the Reds win tonight, and one of those losses have to happen. Right?
Well, one of the losses, the Brewers have to lose at least once to the Cardinals.
So the Cardinals have to win at least one game in their doubleheader.
Yeah. But also, the Phillies need to lose to the Rays. And the Reds win.
So both losses need to happen. Okay, that's a little harder.
And the Reds win. And I mean, there's still a couple of days after this, but that's just for today.
I mean, they have till Sunday, and then the playoffs start Tuesday, I believe.
Okay.
Or the postseason, not the playoffs. They call it the postseason in baseball. So, back to hockey. When Greg watches this, he'll be glad we left hockey and went back to baseball for a bit, even though he's originally from Canada. But speaking of Canada, an Oiler won the MVP, and that was Oilers center Leon Draisaitl, and then Teddy Lindsay, and he won the Teddy Lindsay Award for Outstanding Player, and that is voted by the members of the NHLPA. So he got 2 awards. Okay. So the Sharks named their new head coach, Bob Boiger, elevating him from the interim head coach. He posted a 14-20-3 record last season after the head coach was fired in Peter DeBoer. And then former player Ryan Kessler says in Canadian sports documentary that there's a lack of education across the NHL in pain meds. So, do you want to say anything about either of those, Justin?
I think so.
Okay. And then this is our last little bit of NHL news. NHL teams can open facilities. Voluntary workouts for clubs can begin on the 15th of October. Protocols include maximum of 12 players on the ice at the same time. So, which, since their season's going to end probably by next Friday, they're obviously getting ready to get back out there for the next season, but they don't have an exact plan for when they're going to start their next season.
Okay.
Like the NBA also doesn't either. Pick between the NBA, WNBA, or the NFL, Justin.
NBA.
Okay. Let's see. So, speaking of what I just said, with season starting, Commissioner Adam Silver says best guess is the next NBA season won't start until 2021, but goal is to play standard season. So we could see an 82-game season in 2021, starting in January, going all the way through the summer, like we have seen kind of now, with maybe a postseason starting maybe around the 4th of July, when we had been seeing the free agency period basically being. That would also push back Summer League and other stuff like that. So that's interesting. And then Vanessa Bryant, widow of Kobe Bryant, has sued the LA County Sheriff's Office, claiming deputies shared unauthorized photos of crash that killed her late husband, Kobe Bryant. Have anything to say about those two?
As far as the season goes, for all of these leagues, it'll be interesting to see like how regular they try and get this 2021 season, and then just have a really short off season until the 2022 season, or if they accept, or at least try and accept wouldn't be the word, but try and make the 2021 season smaller so that the 2022 season can be fine. So it may
So are you saying like maybe start the 2022 season in 2022, or like in 2021, or still have it in like 2022 in January, or like start it at the beginning of like December?
Yeah, that's like the question I'm saying these leagues will have to answer is how much do they want the 2022 season affected? Because if you make the 2021 season as normal as you can, but it's like later than it would usually start,
right,
you're going to have a really short off season until the 2022 season.
And
so
the NHL is also going to be is going to expand to 22 teams. Isn't this upcoming season then, or is it the following
32
season?
teams.
Yeah, when Seattle comes into the league officially. I can't remember when they officially start play. I don't think it's this upcoming season. I think it might be the season after that.
Probably.
So, but they're going to expand to 32. They'll have an expansion draft again and stuff like that. I mean, they're going to have to deal with all that. I mean, but the NBA's also talked about pushing back the start of their season later because of dealing with the NFL. So they would have some of those meaningless games at the beginning of the year in December more, so they don't have a bulk of their season, during a lot of the NFL season, and then you'd pick up a lot more viewers during the regular season instead of toward after the All-Star break and all that. So, because I mean, their only competition at that point, at once football is over, would be the NHL, who would probably start around the same time, and baseball once it starts up, which I think they won't be affected at all. They'll, because they do, they're planning on being done by the normal time they plan on it, and they normally don't start until the spring with spring training.
Right. Yep.
So I think everything will be fine for them.
They had a really short 2020 season, but the 2021 won't be as affected.
Right.
Whereas some teams or some leagues are not taking as much of a hit on their 2020 season, but they could also take a fair hit on their 2021 season.
Right.
Which is league by league.
And the bad thing for like the CFL, they're not even going to play their upcoming season. So we won't, like, our quarterback for the past 4 seasons got drafted to a CFL team. Now he's going to have a year off. I mean, is he still going to be able to produce at the same level he was?
Well, when everyone else is in the same boat, I'd say yeah.
Right, I know, but and we don't know when the XFL is going to start back up again under the rock, too. Is he going to capitalize on, in 2021 or in 2022? And could we see, players from the XF or from the CFL and the NFL going there and trying to, play in the US and stuff like that? Or do we see it becoming partnerships with the NFL and CFL, stuff like that? So I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm like. There's a lot of stuff to think about, going into this upcoming off season for some of these sports and stuff like that. It was also announced Tuesday evening that Billy Donovan agreed to a deal to become the next head coach of the Bulls. I believe it was earlier this week or late last week. He announced that him and the Thunder were mutually parting ways, and obviously now he's with the Bulls. So, and obviously also that that little tournament with the teams that didn't go to Orlando never happened. That we had talked about that the NBA was talking about, because if it did, then Billy Donovan would be coaching another team in another bubble. You realize that?
Okay.
But we're going to move on to some WNBA awards. Candace Parker was named Defensive Player of the Year. Have you been watching the WNBA playoffs?
Mm-mm.
They're in their semifinals right now, so they should be starting the finals probably by Sunday, I would expect.
Okay.
They only play 5 games in the semifinals and finals, so it's a best of 5. So it's better than the NBA because it's faster.
That's true.
The Washington Dreams, no, that's the Mystics. Who's the Dream?
Atlanta.
Yeah. So one of their players, I don't know how to say her first name, but her last name is Laney, earned the WNBA's Most Improved Player award after she was waived by the Fever in June. So that's really cool that she ended up earning an award after she was waived. So we're going to the NFL now, Justin. Did you watch the Raiders game
No, I didn't.
Monday? That
I
stadium
want to.
was really nice.
Yeah, I want to find some video of the stadium.
Mark Davis was not there. He said if the fans weren't there, he wasn't going to be there. That was his first game. He wasn't there of a Raiders game since he was like 8 years old when he was sick.
Okay.
He usually attends every game. So his mom though was there. She lit the torch.
That's like a tradition thing they're gonna do.
I don't know, but it's the first time it had ever been lit. It's not like an actual like flame. It's like they have it like already made out, like it's already like, and then it's on the thing, and they just press a button or something and it lights up, and it's just
Electronic.
yeah, but it's cool looking.
Okay.
I watched I think the first half of it or something, and the Saints were doing good then, but then obviously after I stopped watching, the Raiders came back and won. So, but it was good. But yeah, defensive player, defensive rookie of the year from last year in 49ers defensive end, Nick Bosa will miss the rest of the season after he tore his ACL on Monday or Sunday actually, but it came out Monday that he tore his ACL. So, how do you think that will affect the Niners with their chance to go back to the Super Bowl this year?
I was about to ask which team he played for because I didn't even know where he was at now.
Oh, Joey plays for the Niners. Nick plays for the Chargers.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hit, but at least it's early on, and so you can prepare, the rest of the season, knowing that whoever's stepping up in his place is going to be there for like the rest of the year. It's not just like you get the final week of the season to practice and then you're in there for the playoffs. So probably better earlier than later, I would say.
Yeah.
It would be better if he was playing, but
right. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's better that it happened earlier in the season so they can prepare without him than it happened later and be like, oh crap, now we got to do this right before we go into the playoffs.
Yep.
Maybe now they can like sign someone and get that's really good veteran that hasn't been on a team yet.
Sure.
So Tuesday, the NFL announced fines of coaches over mask usage. Seahawks Pete Carroll, 49ers Kyle Shanahan, Broncos Vic Fangol. Is that how you say his last name?
Not sure.
Okay. Were each fined $100,000 for violating the NFL protocols. So all three of those coaches were fined $100,000. And then both Sean Payton and John Gruden were also docked $100,000 for not wearing masks on Monday Night Football. So the league just made $500,000 in 2 days from fining coaches for not wearing masks. Both teams were also fined $250,000, so they made actually $1 million from it. I don't understand why they fined the teams also.
Maybe just all the other staff on the sidelines.
I don't know. It's interesting though. At least they're showing they mean business and everything, and Monday we announced that Saquon Barkley was out for the season with an injury. The Giants have now signed former Falcon running back Devontae Freeman to a one-year deal, $3 million, and he could play this Sunday. So, see, there's an example of replacing someone just like that. On Wednesday morning, there was breaking news that Gale Sayers passed away. He was a Bears legend and Hall of Famer. He was 77 years old, played in 68 NFL games during injury-shortened career. He's also the youngest inductee into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I believe, if I remember right. And then did you hear about this? What happened to Tyrod Taylor?
I don't think so.
So the Chargers team doctor punctured his lung on Sunday while trying to administer painkiller, like a painkilling injection for his like cracked ribs. So Justin Herbert ended up playing.
Okay. That happened on Sunday?
Yeah.
And so he needed a replacement that day to play?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Justin Herbert's the rookie they drafted. He played at Oregon. So
that was his first game in the NFL?
Yeah. Okay. Having to step in for an injured Tyrod Taylor.
Do you know if he won or not?
I can look that up real quick. Do you have any NFL stuff you want to talk about, Justin?
I just want to see the Vegas and Los Angeles stadiums. I need to look them up, but I'm always excited when there's new stadiums, and it's unfortunate when there aren't fans, but
the Chiefs won in overtime by 3.
Okay.
23-20.
Okay.
Real quick, the Patriots center David Andrews underwent thumb surgery today. He's going to be out against the Raiders on Sunday. So, is there anything you want to talk about, Justin? Sports related?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let's see. Sunday, you have Game 4 of the WNBA semifinals between the Aces and Suns. And you have Game 3 between Storm and Lynx following that on ABC at 3. Last night the Dolphins got their first win, I believe, of the season against the Jags, 31-13. Guess who was the quarterback? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fitzmagic.
Yep. Let's see. Some baseball games currently in action. Brewers are winning 3-0 in Game 1 of the doubleheader in the top of the 6th. And the Phillies and Rays are 0-0 all in the bottom of the 1st on ESPN Plus. Let's see. Mets Washington makeup from September 26th is postponed. Or game today was postponed. It's going to be a makeup made up on tomorrow. Let's see. Reds don't pitch first. First pitch is at 8:10 because they are in Minnesota. So let's see. NHL Game 4, Tampa Bay leads the series 2-1 tonight on NBC at 8 p.m. So there's that. There is a football game tonight between Middle Tennessee and UTSA at 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. UTSA is 2-0 and Middle Tennessee is winless. We got those wrong, I believe. I don't think either of us had UTSA starting off undefeated. Or wait, did you, Justin? Are you there? All right, you froze for a second. Justin, speak.
Hello.
Okay. You had froze for a second.
Okay.
The game at 8:00 on, or at 7:30 on ABC is Florida State at Miami. So, and Baylor will be playing at 7:30 on ESPNU against Kansas. So Baylor will start their season. So will Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's another team that hasn't played at all this year so far, and they're ranked number 20th. So yeah, that was the NBA. Tonight we have at 8:30 on ESPN. We have Game 5. Miami leads 3-1 over the Celtics. So I think that's going to do it for us today. I will see you Monday. Justin, thanks for joining us today. And we'll see you all on Mondays. Remember to subscribe, like, notification bell, tell all your friends, follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you later. Have a good rest of your evening.